welcome to my channel. Have you ever heard a strange knocking at your door in the middle of the night? In this video, we explore two different instances of mysterious knocking, one involving a bread girl and the other involving the air itself. First, we follow the story of a young girl who delivers bread to a house late at night. As she knocks on the door, she hears strange noises coming from inside. What could be causing the eerie sounds? We investigate and uncover a surprising twist. Next, we delve into the phenomenon of air knocking, a strange occurrence where doors and windows seem to knock on their own. We explore the science behind this strange phenomenon and share some of the most chilling stories of air knocking from around the world. Join us on this spooky journey as we uncover the mysteries of the knocking at night. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more creepy content. It was a dark and stormy night, and I was just settling down to enjoy a quiet evening alone in my cozy little house. I was deep in thought, sipping a hot cup of tea, when suddenly there was a loud knocking at my door. I peered through the peephole, but all I could see was the outline of a small figure standing on my front porch, huddled under a tattered old coat. I hesitated for a moment, wondering if it might be some kind of prank. But then my compassion got the better of me and I decided to see who it was. When I opened the door, I saw that it was a young girl, no more than 10 years old, with long tangled hair and big, sad eyes. She looked up at me with a pleading expression and said, "Please, sir, I'm so hungry. Do you have any bread you could spare?" I was taken aback by her directness, but I felt sorry for her and invited her inside. I went to the kitchen and found a loaf of bread, sliced a piece off and handed it to her. But she refused to take it. "I'm not really hungry for bread," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "What I really want is your soul." I was completely shocked by her words and couldn't believe what I was hearing. But as I looked into her eyes, I saw something that chilled me to the bone, a darkness that seemed to go on forever, a bottomless pit of emptiness. I knew then that this was no ordinary girl, but some kind of supernatural being, a ghost or demon perhaps. I tried to back away, but she stepped closer, her hand reaching out to touch me. "If you give me your soul, I will make you my slave," she said, her voice growing stronger and more menacing with each word. "You will do whatever I say, and you will be under my control forever." I knew I had to get out of there, but my feet felt rooted to the spot. I was paralyzed with fear, unable to move or speak. I felt like I was being sucked into a vortex of darkness, and there was no escape. Suddenly, there was a bright flash of light, and the girl disappeared. I was left standing there, trembling and sweating, wondering if it had all been some kind of nightmare. But then I looked down and saw the slice of bread lying on the floor, untouched and uneaten. I knew then that what had happened was real, and that I had narrowly escaped a fate worse than death. From that day on, I made sure to always keep my doors locked at night, and to never open them to strangers, no matter how innocent they may seem. For in the world of ghosts and demons, things are not always what they appear to be. As the years went by, I tried my best to forget about that terrifying night, but the memory never faded completely. I still had nightmares about the girl and her cold, empty eyes, and sometimes I thought I could feel her presence lurking in the shadows. One night, many years later, I was awoken by a sound at my bedroom window. It was a tapping, a soft, insistent tapping that seemed to come from the other side of the glass. I sat up in bed, heart pounding, and peered out into the darkness. At first, I saw nothing, just the flickering of the streetlights and the swaying of the trees. But then, out of the corner of my eye, I saw a figure moving in the shadows. It was a small figure, a child, or perhaps something that only looked like a child. The tapping grew louder, more urgent, and I could hear a voice that seemed to come from inside my own head. It was the voice of the girl, the one who had come to my door so many years ago, the one who had asked for my soul. "Let me in," she whispered. "Let me in, and I will give you everything you desire. Wealth, power, love, all of it can be yours, if you only give me what I want." I felt a chill run down my spine, and I knew that I had to resist her. but it was so tempting, so seductive to give in to her demands. For a moment, I wavered, and I reached out to the window as if to open it. But then, something snapped inside me, and I pulled my hand back. I knew that I could never let her in, that I could never give up my soul to the darkness. And so, with a fierce determination, I stood up and faced the window. "Go away," I shouted, my voice ringing out into the night. "Leave me alone, and never come back." There was a moment of silence, and then the tapping stopped. I looked out again, and saw that the figure was gone, swallowed up by the darkness. And I knew then that I had won, that I had triumphed over the forces of evil. But as I lay back down in bed, trying to calm my racing heart, I couldn't shake the feeling that the girl was still out there, waiting for her next victim. And I knew that I would have to be ever vigilant, ever wary, lest she come knocking at my door once again. My next story is, it was a cold, windy night, and I was sitting in my cozy living room, sipping on a cup of hot tea. Suddenly, I heard a strange sound, a knocking on my door, but it was as if the knock was made of air. I felt a chill run down my spine as I looked towards the door, wondering who or what could be outside. I took a deep breath and slowly made my way towards the door, my heart racing with fear. As I approached the door, the knocking grew louder, and the air around me seemed to vibrate with each knock. I hesitated for a moment, wondering if I should open the door, but my curiosity got the best of me. With trembling hands, I slowly opened the door, and to my surprise, there was nothing there. The air was still, and there was no sign of any kind of presence. I felt a shiver run down my spine as I looked around, trying to make sense of what had just happened. Suddenly, I heard a soft whisper in my ear, "Hello, friend." I turned around quickly, but there was no one there. I realized that the knocking on my door was not just air, but it was a presence, a ghostly figure that was trying to communicate with me. I took a deep breath, trying to calm my nerves, and I said, "Who are you? What do you want?" The air around me seemed to stir, and I felt a sudden shift in the atmosphere. A faint voice whispered, "I'm lost. I need your help to find my way home." With a newfound determination, I decided to help this lost spirit. I took a deep breath and said, "I will help you. Let me guide you back to where you belong." The air around me grew calm, and I felt a sense of peace wash over me. Together, we set out on a journey to find the ghost's home. We walked through the cold, dark night, and finally, we arrived at an old, abandoned house. The ghostly figure thanked me for my help and then disappeared into the night. As I made my way back to my own home, I felt a sense of satisfaction knowing that I had helped someone in need, even if that someone was a ghost. From that day on, I always kept an open mind and an open heart, ready to help anyone who might need it, whether they were flesh and blood or just a presence in the air. As I stepped back into my living room, I noticed something strange. The room was colder than before, and I felt a presence lingering in the air. I looked around but saw nothing out of the ordinary. Suddenly, I heard a whisper in my ear, "Thank you for your help." I turned around, but there was no one there. I felt a chill run down my spine as I realized that the ghost I had helped was not as grateful as I had thought. I had unknowingly opened the door for something dark and malevolent. From that day on, strange things started to happen in my home. Doors would slam shut on their own. Objects would move without explanation. And I would wake up in the middle of the night to the sound of whispers and footsteps. I knew then that the ghost I had helped was not a lost soul, but an evil spirit that had taken residence in my home. No matter how hard I tried, I could not rid myself of this malevolent presence. I was trapped, living in a haunted house, forever tormented by the ghostly figure that I had once helped. And as I sat alone in the cold, dark living room, I knew that I would never be at peace again. One night, as I lay in bed, I heard a faint whisper in my ear. It was a ghostly figure, and it spoke to me in a voice that sounded like nails on a chalkboard. "You thought you could help me, but you only made things worse," it said. "Now, I will never let you leave this house. You will be trapped here with me forever." Suddenly, the room grew cold, and I felt a presence looming over me. I tried to scream, but no sound came out. The ghostly figure had taken control of me, and I knew that I was no longer alone in the haunted house. From that day on, I was forever tormented by the malevolent presence, trapped in a never-ending nightmare that I could never escape. And as my YouTube channel grew in popularity, my viewers watched in horror as I slowly lost my mind, consumed by the ghostly figure that had taken over my life.